Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We went to movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained as pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast. Hey,
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santa's podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about their favorite flicks from childhood. I'm Sweetie with a Y.
And I'm Sweetie with an IE.
And here we are again. I don't know what else to say. I feel like every time it's the same. We're like, oh, we're still in quarantine.
Oh, I was going to say, let's not mention the Q word at all.
Q. Oh, I was like, the C word?
Or the C word.
There's a lot of words.
I mean, I'll do the other C word anytime you want, but I'm not doing that other C word because I'm sick of talking about it. Guys.
Yeah, that's right.
Over it
This
already.
is whatever. Here we are doing it.
We're just doing the podcast, just like regular day. Hey, we're doing the podcast. We're doing the podcast.
Listen,
we're doing the
no,
podcast.
sometimes we have to face reality and talk about it because, for instance, this week, something very sad happened in that Adam Schlesinger, it's a tough one for me, from my mouth. He unfortunately passed away from contracting fucking COVID, you guys.
COVID-related illness.
What the fuck?
Who was Adam Schlesinger,
He
Sweetie?
was the guy who wrote That Thing You Do, the song from That Thing You Do. He's co-writer of many of the songs on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, was an original member of Fountains of Wayne.
What is the big song from Fountains of Wayne?
Stacy's mom has
Got it going on. She's all I want, and I waited for so long. Stacy, can't you see?
It's good.
Good song.
Yeah, but was super talented, and believe it or not, he wrote probably the best song in this movie that we are covering this week, which is
Josie and the Pussycat Dolls. I keep wanting to say Josie and the Pussycat Dolls. When I was writing this, I was like, ah!
I know. It's unfair.
I know.
It's unfair.
Too many 90s groups coming together.
Oof, yeah, that's
Or
true.
2000 groups.
Yeah.
2000 groups.
Josie and the Pussycat. 2000?
This movie is from 2001, guys. And believe it or not, that was the year that I graduated high school.
Wow.
So at this point, kind of a long time ago for all you youngies out there. But yeah, I was in high school when this came out. Do I remember it? Kind of remember it. I don't know. I was too busy graduating or something.
Oh, okay. Well, I remember it, you guys, because I was in 8th grade, which was the peak, maybe let's say, some would say the height of my coolness.
Wow.
She
peaked early, guys. Real early.
I'm not going to get it back. No, my friends and I it was just like such a magical year of like feeling like we were so old and cool, and we hung out with these like boys in our grade, and we thought we were like the coolest shit. Still had never had a boyfriend or kissed anyone, but I was like, this is it. This is the year. And it was just a really magical year. Yeah. I mean, this was the year of Josie and the Pussycats, which my friends and I loved. I believe we saw it in the movie theater. Loved the songs, and just the style and everything was it was just like, it was everything. And I don't think we got on some level that it was like a satire and is like meta in that way, but I don't think so. I don't know if I'm not 100% sure what my brain was like.
You were smart, and I know in 8th grade you were doing some really key literature pieces that would maybe I also went to your same school. I mean, we did
key literature pieces.
No,
I was an author.
Key literature pieces in school in 8th grade. You read like a lot of good classics that also are like satires and stuff like that. Didn't you read like Fahrenheit 451 and Animal Farm and all those?
Yes. I knew what a satire was, but I'm saying I don't know if I knew that that this movie was a satire. Like, I just thought it was like a regular movie that was funny.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't sure if I knew or not that there was this like whole underneath thing that's like they're in on the joke.
Yeah, probably not.
Or what. So that's an interesting side plot. But
Yeah, I'm gonna guess no.
We loved this movie.
It does seem like a very you movie, and it feels very along the lines of Spice World, which we have already covered. Very much. Spice World was 97, right? So that came like quite a bit earlier, but feels very, very Spice Girl-esque in that same sort of satire, like in on the joke kind of a thing. Similar cast members. We'll go over that in a second. Yeah. So I've only seen this movie once before this, I'm pretty sure, all the way through. Maybe like scenes here and there on TV. As I said, I was aware of it. I think I was slightly a little too like old to be like as enamored with it as you were. I think it like really hit the, whether you're late middle school or early high school, I think would have been a little bit more people have been like, oh my God. But this movie I felt like I was in high school watching this movie. This has the mood of basically everything about high school. I just like could not get over it. And that's what's great about these late 90s, early 2000 movies. And we haven't even covered, I feel like, even the tip of the iceberg on so many. The writers of this movie are the same writers from Can't Hardly Wait. Like, we haven't done Can't Hardly Wait yet.
Oh yeah, why haven't we done Can't Hardly
we haven't
Wait
done
yet?
So along like those kind of movies, I feel like we haven't done a lot of like some of those.
True.
Like Road Trip, we haven't done that. We haven't done. I just thought of another one too. Anyway, so like those kind of ones, which just feel so high school to me, almost like when you would hear a song. And a lot of the music in this also feels so much like high school to me. And I called it. So the singer that they had for Josie is the singer who does Letters to Cleo, right? I don't know who that woman's name is.
Kay Handley.
Yeah. So that style of music, which is like was kind of like
Girl grunge.
I mean, girl grunge, not like punk, but it's basically that like same guitar, like I forgot what Jimmy called. I asked him what it was, and it's some kind of guitar thing. Just that like sound where they're just basically like is like so high school to me. Yeah. The way everyone is dressed, obviously, the clothes. This movie starts with a boy band called De Jour, and the songs of the boy band, oh my God, they are like classic. And looking back at it, you're like, how the fuck do we love those songs? And think like any of them were at all like different, that we even had favorites or whatever, is like astounding to me, because basically all those songs are like exactly the same. But like, just like this movie is trying to make fun of, and like by no means do I think that the music that we listened to in high school had subliminal messaging, but like did it, because we were like as enamored with all that shit as in this movie. And the crazy thing is that they made that movie like in the time that it was happening.
Right. That's what really freaked me out.
Yeah. Like you can look back on it and be like, if this was made now, you'd be like, oh my God, like they're satirizing, to satirize it in the moment is just like, whoa, like so meta. Like, yeah, exactly. Like what you said, like it's just like crazy to me. So I mean, whatever you think that of this movie, like if you graduated high school, let's say between the years 2000 and when did you graduate? 2005, you would like, there's no one who wouldn't like this movie just for being like transported back to being like, oh shit, man, like year 2000 was the jam. Like,
I have such a long list of 90s thrilling things that I saw.
And obviously crazy time right now. This is like the most insane time we've ever lived through, and like what is happening right now. So to watch a movie like this when there's like sun unsettled time, oh man, I had such a good time. I just good. Really, it was just such good escapism.
It's like your mama hugging you.
Yeah, I was
a big
just
old hug.
Oh shit! And we talk about this all the time. How, whether it's childhood or when we were in high school, and obviously depending on how your high school experience is, it could have been terrible. But ours was like relatively pretty good and easy, and we felt really taken care of, and it was mostly just fun, right? So, watching these and also being transported to that time, which was like, wow, like. It was just like a lot of fun all the time, and how great that was. So thank you for picking this one. I know I was like, I don't think I gave a stink about it, but I was just like, oh yeah, okay, let's do it. But I had a lot of fun.
You weren't excited about it because you hadn't seen it too many. It's like every movie that you've made me watch, pretty much.
Well, I mean, I feel like I had the same reaction to Spice World. I was like, oh, And like I've barely seen it or whatever. But then I came out of it and I was like, yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So who's in this film?
So we got 90s movie all-star Rachel Lee Cook. Little sprite, I call her. Or like something. She's so tiny.
She's
you
so
see
tiny.
her, you get like a pretty decent look at her hands in this movie.
Oh.
And they're like tiny children hands.
Oh my gosh.
What is happening?
Small hands.
You do know she weighs 118 pounds.
I
So
know.
it's
Yeah,
very
right.
enlightening.
Probably even like less than that.
Yeah, in your bra.
In your bra.
So we also have Tara Reid. Or is it Tara Reid? It's Tara
Good
Reid.
question. I think it's Tara.
Wow, I'm gonna say this is her best role of all time. If you know her in like other movies, she's usually in like pretty like trashy, like terrible actor kind of things. But in this, she like totally leans on that and is this like super ditzy airhead person. And I think it really works because it doesn't seem like she's acting. You're like, oh, this is just a genuine like Tara Reid thing. So I just really enjoy that performance. And then Rosario Dawson. Awesome. Love her as Val, the sassy the sassy bass player. Alan Cummings. We did this last time.
Cummings with an S, I think.
Is that?
Yeah.
Is the Mega Records guy. What's his
Like,
name?
feels very, I mean, is he typecast for these like sleazy
Well, so what was
recording
confusing is
manager
that-
person?
Well, so he wasn't that person in Spice World,
Right.
Wasn't that the other guy? It wasn't Alan Cummings, the director of the like documentary or whatever.
I couldn't
And
remember.
It was Richard, the other guy. That guy that we love.
Yeah, I couldn't remember, but it did feel very similar, and obviously his outfits and stuff, and the glasses and everything. I don't know.
It was just,
but anyway,
it was also his era.
yeah.
Parker Posey, that bitch. We just did a movie. You've Got Mail with her. Love that bitch. She's fantastic as Fiona, the like president of Mega Records, the evil record company. Oh my god, I was just like kept cracking up like at the end. I forget what part it was when they're I don't know. It was just like some part that I just love her. She's great. And then like a bunch of random fucking cameos.
The entire cast of Clueless? Is that what you're going to say?
Donald Faison, but only for the very beginning. And
I know.
They like couldn't pay them enough money to like be in the end part, so they had to use guys in body cast. But yeah, Donald Faison, Seth Green, and Breckenmeyer, our fave, and then some other guy.
Proper Birkenstock missed him.
Proper Birkenstock, the best.
That's so
and
long.
But who is that other guy?
I don't know.
They're being very like direct with like these are all guys that you know in other movies that you love, and this other guy.
But then that other guy who was like totally nameless was the only guy who came back like in the end and was not in the body cast
because he wasn't asking for a lot of money. I don't know. Very strange. Any other? Oh, Carson Daly. Cameo.
Eugene
Selena
Levy.
Altschul. Eugene Levy. I'm watching Schitt's Creek, and I like screamed when he was on the screen.
Yeah, me too.
I was so excited.
That was funny. And then I don't know if you recognize this because I had to look him up. The guy who's like the love interest. I'm like, dang, like what is that guy from? Like I was looking at his face. I'm like, what is it from? And it's her gay friend from Revenge.
Yeah. He's in a bunch of other like random things too.
Yeah.
He was in Mad Men, like season 2.
Yep.
It's just so random that he's the love interest. But yeah, wow, good times, guys. Good cast.
Yeah. Oh, that other guy from Road Trip who like smokes a lot of weed. He was in like
I've never seen
he
Road
looks
Trip,
kind of
actually.
Jewish with the afro.
Oh, her like local manager. Guy?
Yes.
Alexander.
Yep. So he's in like a bunch of 90s shit too.
Missy Pyle.
Yes,
Missy
I know.
Pyle is the sister.
Yep. So
Alexandra.
yeah, so like just like all stars of like 90s movies and pop culture. Late 90s. Let's clarify that because like the 90s really does have such a range. You can't just say like 90s because the beginning is so much different than the end, right?
Well, the beginnings is so much like the 80s.
80s,
and the
yeah.
beginning of the 2000s is so much like the 90s.
Exactly.
It's like transitioning over.
Exactly.
So.
So as I said, the directors and writers of this were the same people who did Can't Hardly Wait, those writers. And then, as Sweetie said, so this is a movie heavy with original songs. So they had the Letters to Cleo woman do the singing, but then they had a bunch of original songs in here that were the Josie and the Pussycat songs. So as we said, Adam Schlesinger did like the main one, which is Pretend to Be Nice. We'll sing it later. It's excellent.
Yeah.
It's it's,
But which version are we
really
going to
good.
sing later is the question.
I don't
I
know.
think you know which version I'm going to sing.
So then baby Kenneth Babyface Edmonds, huge producer of the 90s.
Wait, or is it Kenneth Edmonds' Babyface?
No, it's always Kenneth Babyface Edmonds. But like, remember he was a singer and he did that song. Let's
Well, I
too
know, I was
low.
just gonna
Days
look
are
up.
so
What is it
sad.
again?
Nobody knows it
Knows
but
it
me. I think.
Oh my god, I love it.
Days when the nights
so
are lonely, nights are lonely. Days are so sad. So it's like,
Brian Edmonds, known as Babyface. Oh, so good.
does he have a baby face? I don't know. I wouldn't like say that's a baby face.
Not anymore. He has like gray hair now, so
Yeah.
it's like.
And he
yeah, I
did
wouldn't
so
call it babyface.
they had like the Captain and Tennille like inside the music like spoof. That was him as like the janitor guy. Do you remember that part? Yeah, that's him. He did like a little
Okay,
thing.
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Anyway, so he produced all the stuff and did that part of it. And then the other main writer they had of the songs was Adam Duritz of Counting Crows fame. You know,
What's his name?
Adam Duritz. He has like the black dreadlocks.
Wait, is that? Oh, that's
Jew-
his name.
Yeah, he's like a Jewish guy with dreadlocks.
Wait, who's the guy that Kate Hudson was married to? Is that a different band?
Black Crows.
Black Crows. Okay, that's very confusing.
Yeah, Counting
You can't have
Crows.
two Crows band
Counting
names.
Crows.
And wow.
Mr. Jones and me.
Yeah, why do you have
Tell
dreadlocks?
each other fairy tale.
Questionable.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
that
the 90s,
seems bad.
even the early 2000s.
I think he still does.
Oh boy, those must smell, huh? Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably.
but good songs. I did really enjoy it. Like the main one, "The Pretend to Be Me," is awesome. And then there's another song that was really like bopping my foot to.
The beginning one.
Yeah, maybe. Or when they're in the salon. Oh, what's the one where they're in the salon? I forget that one. I was into that one.
Yeah, I don't know what that's. I didn't remember that one from my glory days of listening to the soundtrack. But yeah, we should look that. We should
Yeah,
gotta
it was
look that
good.
one up.
It was good.
Cool. Okay. Well, I guess enough gabbing. Should we get down to it?
Yep. Time for the sweetie synopsis. Yeah.
Sweeties.
Another one I didn't write any choice
Just sing a song.
lines.
How about holy shit, that girl's got a skunk on her head.
Is that really 90s too? That like big, like pieces of like
Kind of,
bleached
I
hair
guess.
that people thought was good, like a good look.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of my favorite lines when I was a young pup. I thought that was really clever. Anyways, Josie and the Pussycats are a local band in Riverdale, which is based. She's from the comic books, the Archie comics.
Oh yeah, we didn't even explain that at all. We left that part out.
So they use a lot of references from that. So they're trying to make it, as a band. They're playing some gigs. They're gigging at the bowling alley, the old bowling alley.
But you're missing
Not
the
very
first. You missed
lucrative.
the first scene. You keep missing the.
Okay, this is like
the first scene.
5th time in a row I've
No.
done this.
I know this sets up
I
the
just
whole
always-
film.
It's because I focus always on what? The main character.
character.
That's how I start. That's how
Josie, no last name.
Right. So so it's hard to be like a long time ago. I don't know. Anyways, so movie starts with a boy band du jour who is a 4-person boy band, which I've always been very dubious of because
Never works.
It just doesn't. It just doesn't work. There's a missing
Bad formula.
You're missing a Joey Fatone, let's say.
What was a 4-person boy band? Do we know of
90
any? No, that
90
was.
degrees.
Were they 4 or 3?
4. Jeff, the weird guy, Drew, Nick, and Jeff.
Yep, totally did
Or no,
not work.
I said Jeff twice. Who was the other one that wasn't a Lachey?
The really
He looked
cute
like
one.
a dog.
Yeah,
He kinda
no, I
looked
thought
like
he
a
was
dog.
cute. Yeah, no, I
What's
can
his
see
name?
him, but I don't know what his name is. What
my
was BB Mac was 3, right?
3.
O Town was 5,
Maybe
I
been
want to
5.
say. It's normally 5 because I feel like the combo
Right, that's why I'm
is
saying.
you have 2 main singers basically
There's
that
also-
trade off, and then 3 guys and 2 guys who kind of sing okay, and then 1 guy who doesn't sing at all. They just like need an extra person.
Yeah.
Did you wait? Hold on, time out. Just one more thing. So, like a couple weeks ago, they had like a Elton John thing, and they had all these superstars doing concerts from their living rooms and stuff. So they had the Backstreet Boys, and they had them in all different locations singing "I Want It That Way." So you had all, and they all have little parts of that song. And then the fucking Kevin guy, who literally has not aged a day. He was definitely like 40 years old in that band when it was like actually a band. So now he must be like 70, but he looks the same.
He's not 70.
He's not, and he has little
my
kids. He
God.
has like, he had like a 5-year-old and like an 8-year-old kid
He was
who were
probably
like with him.
29 when he was in Backstreet Boys.
Well, okay, so the craziest thing, so they all, yeah, I think you're right. But so they all like took their little part singing, and then I made a joke to Jimmy. I was like, "Oh yeah, like here's Kevin's part. Like he can't sing at all, and he sang amazing." I was like so impressed.
Yeah, he didn't have a bad voice.
They
We
just
don't
didn't
really know.
They didn't let him
lot.
let him do anything. They didn't like let him do anything.
No, well, we don't know that. We weren't back. We
The
know
worst-
like
the
3
worst one was-
Backstreet Boys songs.
Oh, I know. But the worst one was Howie. Like he couldn't sing at all, and I was like, "Well, I guess she didn't really sing that all either." But I really thought Kevin was
No,
like.
he-
Kevin was kind of the one who didn't sing at all and had no talent, but he was fine.
Oh, Howie sang a lot. I thought Howie and AJ were like big, and Nick. Yeah, I don't know, but okay, yeah, we digress.
Anyway,
So-
sidebar. We know a lot about boy bands.
Sidebar boy bands. So this boy band are obviously huge. Everyone's obsessed with them. They're the it band basically. They get on their plane and then they kind of break into these little fights or squabbles or whatever. And then they are talking to their manager, Alan Cummings, whose name, what is his name? His character's name?
Something with a W. Wyatt? Winston? Wyatt? Something like that.
Wyatt?
Yeah, because his at the end he's like too white Wyatt or
Wally.
something. Wally.
White,
yeah.
Whitey, I don't know.
Whitey Bulger.
So he, okay, so they're like, hey, why is your video paused?
I'm looking up something.
Gotta warn me, okay? God.
She's
you're ill.
dead.
So they're like, oh, there's one other
Wyatt.
thing we want to, Wyatt, okay, that's what we thought. They're like, okay, there's one other thing we want to talk to you about. Like, we heard something weird, like, in our song the other day. Like, what is it? And then they like put these headphones on him and he listens to it and he's like, oh, duh, duh, duh. And then he's like, I've never heard of that in my life. And then he goes into the cockpit, straps on a parachute, tells the pilot, what's the code word?
Take the Chevy to the levee,
Levy.
which
And then
is,
they
do you
jump
know
out
what
the plane.
the reference is
American
to?
Pie.
Which is a song about, the day
music died.
the day the music died, when the Big Bopper and Richie Valens and Buddy
course
Holly
I know.
died in a plane crash.
Of course, I know what that is.
Took the Chevy
We've
to
all
the
seen-
levee, but the levee was dry. And good
all
old
seen the
boys
Bamba.
were drinking whiskey and rye, singing, "This'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day
So-
that I die."
So, it was the day maybe that
The music
Giselle
died?
because the plane goes down, and then that's it. So then we switch to Riverdale where we meet Josie and the Pussycats. So Josie, Val, who's on bass, and Melody, who plays the drums. Probably eternal life confusion for me. I'm thinking back. I feel like I thought a lot of people's names were Melody, but now I'm thinking that maybe their names were Melanie, and I just thought it was Melody. But her name really is Melody, which makes sense.
The girl in Hey Dude is also Melody. That's why you're
Okay,
getting
okay,
confused.
okay. Yeah, that is what I was thinking of, and I was like, wait, is her name Melody?
Well, okay, funny story. There's a woman who I work with at work whose name is Melody, and I always think it's Melanie, but it's a Melody.
Because it doesn't seem like Melody is a real person.
Exactly.
It seems
It doesn't
like
seem
characters
like a real
from our
name.
childhood.
I know.
It's like
I'm like-
a Sweet Valley High Teen book
I know.
of like Melody. Should I name my daughter Melody? Should I have one? It
Sure.
could be like a, like a chic nod, to the
It's coming
days
back.
gone past. I don't know.
It's coming back.
I don't know. You never know. Okay. So they're trying to make it, played in bowling alleys. Not a very lucrative gig. They make like $5. She has this weird love interest named Alan M, who's also a musician.
Okay,
And they have
why is his name that? I kept
don't
saying,
know.
like, what is she saying? I was like, what?
it might be a joke or reference to the comics, but
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I always assumed it was like some inside
Is
joke
that his
I
last initial? Is M?
That's what I'm assuming. I don't know. But they have like a weird flirtatious thing where like it's never ever said that they like each other. There's just always these like weird comments and like sarcasm and stuff like that. And it's an odd relationship. I'll be honest. So
Please be honest.
so obviously she wants to make it as a rock star, but you're like, how are you going to do that? You got to get recognized. So they try, what's that called? That word when you're like singing outside. They call it like busking.
Busking.
They're busking outside a store, and the guy comes out and yells at them. He's like, "You better leave! I'm gonna call the cops." And they're like, "They're not gonna call the cops." And then he calls the cops, and then you see sirens, and so they run away. So they're running away, holding their instruments that they brought to play. And meanwhile, Wyatt is struggling to find a new band to take the place of Du jour, or he'll get fired or whatever. The hair on my tongue, I hate that. It's true. So all of a sudden he slams the brakes on because he almost hits who, sweetie?
Josie and the Pussycats.
Yes. And they're like illuminated from behind by like truck headlights, and then he holds up like a blank CD cover, and envisions them on the front, and he's like, "I've done it." So takes them to a coffee shop, basically hands them a contract, and is like, "I want to sign you." And Josie's like, "But you haven't even heard us play." And he's like, "Do you want to be signed or not?" And so they're like, "Okay." And they just do it, which, props to them. Sure. Why not? He seems legit. He's got a suit. I forgot what kind of car he was driving. Was it a van? Maybe he's not.
Yeah, it was a van. But it's like, it's all they ever wanted. So they're not going to look a gift horse in the
They're not
mouth.
gonna pass it up. That's
No.
right. So they sign the contract, immediately get whisked away to the magical land of New York City, right? Or are they in LA? No, it's New York City because Times Square.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, TRL. Hello.
Yep.
So they get makeovers.
Makeover time. Not
Everyone
like
loves
that
a makeover.
different, though.
Nothing really happens.
I thought they were really, I thought they were gonna really like do a big glow up, but not yet. I mean,
They
they're
put-
like hot girls anyway. They like just change, made their eye makeup a little crazier, punched up her hair a little bit, and they put them in all like cat printed stuff, basically,
and
right?
like high heels and
Yeah.
like sexy things and stuff like that. Lip gloss.
Yeah, they're
colored
they're lookers.
eyeshadow,
They don't need much.
body glitter. Yeah. So
Body glitter.
ugh, I have a whole subsection.
Oh my god,
about
I can
body
smell
glitter.
it. I can smell
That's
it.
what I wrote down. We had like a particular, probably
Yeah.
thinking of the same tube or whatever that we
Yeah.
had. Oh my god, so great! There's no way that was good for you to put on your body, but we did it. Anyways. It's total baby prostitute, but I love it. That smell. So they get the makeovers, and then things are just happening like crazy fast. They record a song in the studio. Wyatt shows them this like fancy sound mixer thing, and then they release their single "Pretend to Be Nice," and it becomes #1 on the billboards after like a week, 1 week, and they're like, "Is this weird?" And they're like, "No," and they're just so excited about it. So they meet Fiona, who's the president of Mega Records, which is the record company that's putting out their album. They think she's a little strange. She brings them to her like girl room and has girl talk, and she's like asking them weird questions. And so they kind of are like, "What is happening here?" So they have a powwow about it outside, and they're like, "There's something off." And then they're listening and watching them back in Fiona's girl room, her and Wyatt, and they're like, "I don't like those two Pussycats. Like, let's get rid of them." But they can't get like a whole new band because they're selling tickets to this huge concert in which everyone who attends has to buy these cat headphones, or else they won't be able to hear, and you can listen and watch it remotely as well. So you need the headphones. and they can't get rid of the band, sweetie. They can't. Meanwhile, we learn about a diabolical plot. Tell us about the diabolical plot.
So the Fiona is part of this organization, and she has like all these heads of state come and visit, and shows them basically her whole like laboratory, which is about putting subliminal messages because teenagers don't have allowances, but they don't have to pay taxes. They don't have to have any bills. So they have all this free money to spend. Like, let's get their money by buying, retail and everything. So food, clothes, whatever. But like, how are we going to, make them do it? And that is by putting subliminal messages into the music that they listen to. So behind all of these bands, underneath their tracks of the CDs, are things that are saying, you need to go to Foot Locker right now and buy the newest Nike. You need to go to Abercrombie and Fitch and buy, vintage tea. So that's how they're getting, kids to kind of fall in line and like buy all this shit. So it's really important. And she kind of shows it to different governments, one government being our own, as I think a way to like mind control, like basic mind control, right? That any government could use by like using it by putting stuff into music. So that, if you know
that part.
Oh, go ahead.
That part where Eugene Levy's like, subliminal rock music, or is what some countries call rock music.
Because
I liked that.
I mean, they're kind of playing on the fact that if that has been like a rumor for a long time about subliminal messages, and that thing about when there was records where you could play a record backwards and stuff, they would say stuff to you. So like the famous one being like whatever the Beatles one is, that's like Paul is dead or something like that. Yeah. And then I feel like there's
that conspiracy theory.
I know. And I feel like there's a couple out there, and like I don't know what that is based on, or if that's just like I don't know. I don't know how records work. I don't know if you can like mistakenly like record stuff by
if subliminal like I understand subliminal advertising, like what that is.
Yeah.
And it's like it's the suggestion of something. And so I never thought that subliminal like messages and things were a real thing. Like I honestly thought that like Saved by the Bell made it up, and then like this and then this.
It's a great episode. He's going to the dance with me.
So good. So good. But I don't know. Maybe it is a real thing. I'm sure we're all brainwashed. What do we know?
Yeah.
But this method of brainwashing is how they're going to get rid of the other two Pussycats, right? So they set up an interview for Val and Melody. Meanwhile, actually, I should say, they used to be called the Pussycats. That's their band's name in Riverdale. That's what it was called. Suddenly, there's a huge billboard in Times Square, and it says Josie and the Pussycats. And Val and Melody Melody less so, but Val's like, that's not our name. Like, we're just the Pussycats. And he's like, oh, no, it was much better tested that it was blah, 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 blah. So they're already, like, planting these seeds of, like, the old chestnut of, like, the lead singer of the band.
Right. I was going to say,
like, break out on their own.
Is there any movie that's not about a band that doesn't have that as a theme? Mm-hmm. That there's like the main singer, and there's always like the rest of the band's like, oh man, like what's happening? We were this band and now you're breaking out and now you're going to be a solo artist. And like that does happen. I mean, there's so many bands that like, they...
I can't think of any that it like doesn't happen to.
Exactly. Like there's almost everyone, whoever ends up being kind of like the most talented, debatable, but they end up like breaking out eventually on their own. So it's a real thing. I mean, obviously it does happen, but I've never seen a band movie that like I was just like thinking about Almost Famous. I was like, wait a minute, this feels like Almost Famous.
Yes. Don't talk to me. Don't ask me. I'm just one of the out of focus guys. I love that. I love that movie. Oh my God, it's so good. So they send them on this TRL interview. They get there and it's like cardboard cutouts, and like the TV is like a cardboard box with TRL like taped on it, and they're like, what is this? This isn't TRL. And then who should come out but Carson Daly. Super amazing nod, guys, because he and Tara Reid were dating at this time. So it was like...
No, they met on this. They met on this and started dating right after.
I was going to ask you, because I thought they had already been dating and they were in this movie, and it was like such like a wink.
And I want to say this was the Carson Daly with his red tipped face. I don't know if you remember that, but
and his
it was a big deal.
His two painted fingernails.
Yes.
I
sorry.
like squealed.
Oh my god, I thought Carson Daly was the coolest person like
Ever.
ever.
I thought he was like so hot, and I was like, he's just so cool and handsome.
And now,
I
like
love him so
watching him
much.
on The Voice as like an old, like sad dad, I'm like, oh my god, this is
He's,
like
like, such a
crazy
goober.
times.
Oh my god. But he's
Why
great.
did I ever
still
think you
love
were
him.
cool? I still do too.
I still stand
like,
by.
I do
stand
too,
by Carson.
but I mean, like he was like the pinnacle of fucking cool. Like he had a very like approachable kind of coolness to him, but like you just thought he was like the coolest shit. I don't know. I did.
Coolest.
Yep.
And he's there to try to kill them. So he tries to kill them with a bat, and this other guy tries to kill them with a bat. Did you recognize that other guy?
I did.
Okay,
like
here it
it
is.
run a bell, but like I just couldn't figure it out.
All right, here, listen to this.
Yeah.
This might jog your memory. Hello, Brother McGuire.
TP. TC. TP. What's that?
TP. I think it is TP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The brother from
Not
Jerry
the brother of
Maguire.
the fishing accident.
Yeah, who lost his leg. No,
TP didn't lose his leg.
Yeah, right.
There's another brother that you don't meet, but he like says it,
Right.
comma, TP, and my other brother, blah, 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 who lost his leg in a fishing accident or something.
Yeah. Hello, Brother Maguire. Yeah.
Hello, Brother
Good
McGuire.
one. Awesome.
So they try to kill them. The girls like best them or whatever and escape. They run back to the hotel to warn Josie. Meanwhile, Wyatt has given Josie this like new remix of one of their songs, and he's like, "Tell me what you think." So she takes a bath, puts on her Walkman, and listens to this song. And unfortunately, they've slipped some more subliminal messaging into this special remix that says mean things about Val and Melody and about how Josie's the most talented one and she should be the leader of the band. So Melody and Val come back, and she's like, "What are you doing here?" And she's like super bitchy and like, total diva.
Which
pretty
is so
savage.
unlike her personality at all.
Yeah, it's like a 180-degree shift, and they're just so confused, and they run away like crying. They're like, what's happened to you? And then that's it. And so then Josie's like pacing the streets or whatever, listening to the music, and then she trips. Why does she like sees something and then like trips, and then the headphones fall off, and she sees the bus pass.
She tripped on her Candy's stripper heels. Remember those?
She tripped when she saw that scary homeless clown with the cans in the shopping cart, like acid trip. So sketchy. But yes, Candy's heels. Oh my God, love it.
So late 90s.
She sees the bus pass where they all like posed for they're the only people with the bus pass with 3 people in the picture, and it like reminds her of something. So then she starts like thinking about like what happened, like what just happened there. So she brings in Alexander and Alexandra, brother and sister, co-manager, or one manager and the sister who just follows him around. And for some reason, they're allowed access into the like top secret like recording studio and access to that machine that puts in the subliminal messaging.
Right.
I thought that was weird. I was like, why is this just like open 24/7? Like anyone can use the studio, guys. Like,
Right.
it's so weird. So she starts like looking into the songs and notices there's this track that's playing beneath the music. So she turns it up and she hears the song, the message. So she puts it together and like knows they're using their music to hook people on certain products and to get them to like her and stuff like that. So she has to go. Oh, and then Fiona and a bunch of heavies bust in, and do they get away or no?
No.
They like grab her and make her go to the concert so that she can do the thing. So she doesn't want to, obviously. She's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to help you keep this like mind slavery up or whatever. And then Mel and Val come in and they like throw them in a convertible and are like, if you don't play the concert, this is what's going to happen to your friends. And then they have a pre-recorded MTV news update with Serena Alchel, who was probably the best MTV
I
news
know.
anchor.
So
like
good.
she was just like so classy.
I know.
And P.S. was she a model? Like
Yeah.
gorgeous.
How do they find her?
Love that bitch.
I know.
Oh, actually, I mean, I love Kurt Loder also.
Yeah.
And then that other guy, Keith. No, what was the other guy's name? David or something.
Yeah.
He's like kind of like Skeletor
Yep.
face. Loved him too. So some goodies in
Wait,
there.
who was like Gideon
Gideon Yago.
Yago?
I
Great name.
love him.
Great name.
So good. So it's
Kids.
like, oh, the Josie and the Pussycats concert was canceled because Val and Melody blew up in the parking lot or whatever. So Josie has to do the concert or they'll blow up her friends. So obviously she picks the concert. Meanwhile, who should come back from the dead but Dujour, who actually was able to land the plane safely, but into a Metallica concert. And they get beat up or whatever, but that one guy knows the words to Enter Sandman, so he's okay.
Off to Never Land.
Oh my God.
Also very late 90s.
Metallica. Remember those that annoying guy who led the crusade against Napster and we all hated him like so bad, and now we're like, oh my God, it's so true. You shouldn't steal my music. But he was like the public enemy
Totally.
number one to us. The Metallica guy, fucking Lars, whatever.
Oh yeah,
my God,
Lars Ulrich. Yeah,
funny. So oh my God, there's just so much 90s just coming out of every pore of my body right now. Like it's an amazing feeling. So Dujour comes and like tries to save the day, but it doesn't really work. Josie takes the opportunity to try to get Val and Mel tied up or whatever. And then there's a kind of tussle, and Fiona tries to like hit Josie with the guitar, but instead she breaks the sound machine that controls the subliminal messaging, and then it like sends out the subliminal messaging track like to everybody. It like makes a bad noise, and then they take off their headphones and they're able to listen to what's actually in the music. So there's like kind of a revolt or whatever. And then Fiona's unveiled to be this girl who has like a terrible speech impediment, lisp, and bad teeth. And
well, I think that's maybe why she had a lisp because of that.
Well, that's what I was thinking, but I was like, is that
the
how
space
it
in
works,
between
though?
her
Like,
teeth?
Get your teeth fixed.
Yeah.
But so she's like, all I ever wanted was to be popular and for people to like me. And you find out that she put like a double like subliminal messaging under everything, I guess. Or the track for the concert tonight?
No,
was
for the
gonna be this
concert,
one?
yeah.
Oh, for the concert, it's like, Fiona is the greatest. Everyone loves her.
But like, did all the kids know who she was?
No, and like that's the thing. She just wanted like, I
People
guess,
she
to be universally
loved.
I don't know. It was that part was kind of weird, but and then Wyatt is revealed to have gone to school with Fiona, and he was made fun of also for being an albino, and they reveal themselves to each other and fall in love, and that's that. And then the government comes, and the guy who works at the Pentagon's like, I don't know what this is, even though he definitely knew what it was. And that's it. And then Josie does like the actual concert for the fans, but it's them for reals. And then fucking Alan M comes striding back into everyone's lives, even though we totally forgot about him.
I know.
And comes on this stage and does this whole they do this whole thing, and then they make out.
And that feels like a total unnecessarily love interest. Yeah. Like you did not. It's like as a late 90s movie for kids, like teenagers, it had to have one. Like that was just part of the formula. But you're like totally unnecessary side plot. That was just like, who cares about him? Because you totally do forget about him. You're like, who cares?
They didn't even like have a good relationship.
No.
It was all like secretive and sarcasm. Like,
it was weird.
Like
it was because I feel like it really is a movie about like their friendship. Like if anything else, like kind of girl power friendship. Like why do you have
don't
that?
Need boys to get in the way here. It just complicates it.
Stupid.
Yeah, you're right. That's stupid. So stupid. So that's it. That's the flick. And then we end with some lovely outtakes.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, who knows if they like really made it or not? Did they make it in a different way?
Did
the band make it? Yeah, maybe. Who knows? But
it seemed like they wrote those songs like without influence from like people liked those songs.
Yeah. Right. They just needed catchy. Their start. You know, like any band does. But you know, as they said in the movie, moral of the story, just be yourself. Like you don't need you are who you are, and you don't need all these, you know, fancy clothes and whatever, and you know, and like basically like what you like, because they play that concert and they say, you know, you've never heard this song before, it wasn't on their CD, and she goes, if you like it, like great, like just make sure it's like it's what you like.
Okay too.
Yeah. like you have control of your choices or something like that. I forget what she says, but basically
Wise words from
yeah,
Josie.
which is true. So as we said, basically a satire about commercialism, and they do like another like kind of tongue-in-cheek thing because there's product placement everywhere in this movie, so that's like a big thing.
So much,
but
so fun.
in like, I thought about it as like, okay, yes, there's probably not subliminal messaging in all these pop songs and stuff like that, but what is like almost more powerful in that is like influencer, almost like an influencer kind of a thing. So we didn't really have influencers in like the late 90s, but it was those pop stars who like were the influencers, right? So it was like what they liked, what they wore, how they dressed, and then obviously the songs they were singing is like what everyone just like buys into. And it's almost like and this is kind of any time, maybe I don't know, less now or more, but it just felt very much in the like 90s that TRL and having these countdowns and being like what was the most popular, and also like everyone else likes it, so you have to like it too, kind of a thing. Now in the 90s there was like different sects of that, because you still had like a lot of different music out there. You had the pop, the pop side of things, but there were different sides of pop. There was more of this kind of grungy, the grunge kind of element still was there. You had these bands, you had kind of punk bands and stuff, so there's like different sides of it, I would say. But just very much like, I don't know, it's just like about being a teenager, basically. Like it's not necessarily like you like it, but because everyone else likes it, there's just this mob mentality of like, oh my god, like I like it too. And I don't know if that's just like a generational thing or what, but it's that I think is what is like subliminal messaging in reality.
Yeah. But for a perfect example, which is one of my entries on my list of 90s things, which is Walkmans. The CD Discmans.
Discmans.
Could a Walkman be the CD one, or was that only the tape one?
Was the Walkman like the brand of
That's
the
what I'm
tape
saying.
one? Yeah. I think it was, because then it became a Discman.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not like Tape Man. Like, why didn't they call it? Like, you could still walk with the Discman.
That's true,
amazing.
but I think it was like you could walk with your tape or whatever. It was like the first portable music that was available, a Walkman. I think it was an 80s thing, I'm pretty sure.
I was just cracking up that like it took us so long to get from like Walkman to like invisible like AirPods that don't have wires. Like we were walking around with this like bulky shit and just like like wires everywhere.
I will say, and I know we've said this before, like honestly, like tapes were better in so many ways. Not like the rewind part, but the skipping and scratching of the CDs were the fucking worst. So if you had a Discman, that thing was like junk basically, because like it would skip all the time. Like the little lens thing would get busted. Like you really couldn't move around with it that much because it would skip. Like it wasn't. CDs were bunk, man. CDs sucked.
Yeah, they totally were. Total ripoff. So Mandy Moore was in an ad for Skechers, I think. Or something, and I saw this ad in Teen People or YM or something, and she's wearing, I can pull it up, I pulled it up on the internets, Google Mandy Moore Walkman, and she's wearing this Walkman that was called the Psych, PSYC, Sony Psych,
okay,
Discman, which was like this blue, did you look it up?
No.
You'll know. So it was like this blue turquoise Discman that had a strap, so you could wear it like a purse or like a crossbody bag and still listen to your music. So I was like fucking obsessed with that, and I needed it like 1,001%. And I got it for Christmas one year, and I thought I was the coolest person on the block. Like I thought I was unstoppable. And I did like it. It was good. I don't remember it skipping like that much. It was pretty cool. It was good, but just like looked fucking awesome. So I was totally swayed by, the powers be. That's my treasured memory of my Discman. But
yeah,
I
think
had a lot of Discmans.
Mine was right. I just don't think the longevity on those were that great, because like I said, like the little lens in there that would like read the CD like always got scratched for me, got broken, something happened with that. So yeah, we were like burned through Discman. Like it was crazy. And then I remember when we got the iPod minis that like changed our lives. It was awesome. We both got them for Christmas
I
that
love
one year.
those little gold ones.
Yeah, gold and silver.
And then I cried because it was back in the day when you could only have one Apple account set per computer. Remember?
Yeah.
So we only had one computer that we shared, and you got it, and I was like, I can't put my music on my iPod. And I think like I had one song on mine, which is like some Black Eyed Peas song that I didn't even like, and I was like, what the fuck? And I was like so upset and mopey because like you get it right after Christmas, all you want to do is use it, and I couldn't.
Was I not in college? Because I would have gotten my own computer in college. I thought I was in college when I got it.
I don't know. But Dad felt bad, and typical Ron Dumas went out, bought me a laptop. So I was okay. So I was able to download my songs on it. So
that's great.
Good times. But what was I gonna say? Another sidebar on Walkmans and Discmans. Why was like the sport version of anything a bright yellow color and still is today? Like, why today is that still mean like sport?
I don't know.
Why is ugly bright yellow sport?
Well, I remember Liz's sport Walkman was the yellow one with like the big thing that like closed it.
And it was nice because the buttons were like silent essentially.
Yeah, I like
it. It
that
didn't
one.
make that click sound. It was like padded. Good Walkman. I loved that. I loved that one. Such a weird.
Now I'm just looking up
trend,
Walkman Walkman pictures. Walkman Sport yellow.
Yes,
oh man.
Yes. Did you get it? Did you find it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, with the cushy buttons. Oh my god, those fucking little headphones. Oh,
yes,
wow.
Those were like the tiny ones.
Used $150. Liz should have saved it.
Oh, we should have kept it.
Oh yeah, this was the jam.
And
it had like a radio. Yeah.
Yes,
nice.
the radio, which like never worked.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so cool. I loved it. So
it's cool.
Walkman Sports.
Yeah.
FM AM.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so the power of persuasion is strong.
It is.
Good times though, but good message. Very funny, very tongue in cheek. A lot of like references to the comic. There's a part where Alexander's like says to Alexandra, like, why are you even here? Because you're like, why is she there? Because she's not part of the band. She's not a manager. She's just like mean and wears like ugly clothes. And she's like, I'm here because I'm in the comics. And then he's like, what? And she's like, nothing. And so it's like, it's just one of those, one of those things. It's very like Wayne's World kind of, or like Brady Bunch, very like self-referential of like, we know where we came from kind of thing. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it watching it now in today's lens. I think there's a couple of like off-color racism like jokes lingering that made me uncomfortable. But aside from that, I think it's a hidden gem. I think it's a hidden gem of a movie. I really do.
It stands up. It's really fun. As we said, total late 90s time capsule. And the music really makes it. I mean, these songs are like really catchy and really fun. And, like we said, the Adam Schlesinger and went on to, if you've never seen the show Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, talk about crazy, catchy songs. That's what that guy was all about. And as we said before, he also wrote That Thing You Do Jam, which is like the best song of all time. So
best song in the world.
That guy was insanely talented, like great songwriter. So sad to see him go, but he certainly left us with a lot of good jams.
So the title track of the movie, not the title track, but the main song that Josie comes out with is called Pretend to Be Nice, which I've decided the lyrics, I should sing this song to my cat, Desmond, because he's very rude to me, and he should at least pretend to be nice to me because I feed him. But the song is great. So we'll sing a little bit of it. We'll sing it in two versions. The first version is the regular version, and it goes, chorus or like the beginning?
Yeah, the chorus. That's what everyone knows.
Why do you do
what you do to me, baby? Shaking my confidence, driving me crazy.
You know that I
do anything for you.
Please don't ignore me, 'cause you know
I adore you. Well, my favorite part is the do.
So My favorite part is that at the Fiona party where she like gets introduced as like Fiona, and it's this like Broadway jazz rendition of the song, and I like fucking love it. And I don't know who's singing it. They never make reference to it, but it's so good. It's like, why do you do what you do to me, baby? It's so good. I just want to like stroll around the house and like sing that. It's
So
just like
fun.
so much fun. But it's such a catchy little tune.
What else?
And I definitely had this downloaded on Napster and listened to it all the time. Loved that song. And then the other one they play a lot is the one in the beginning and then in the middle also, which is the like, it's been 6 whole hours and 5 long days.
Yeah.
For all your and then a couple other ones that I can't remember what they're called, including a Josie and the Pussycats song. That's like Josie and the Pussycats or something. You know, one of
Which
those
I
sweetie
don't know if there was there a cartoon of this at one point? Because when you like Google the images, there's obviously the images of the comic book, but then they had like on YouTube they had the theme song. So I was like, I think this was like they made a cartoon version, as like they did I think for a lot of comic books.
So I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I don't know, but nothing's coming up. But yeah, good times, great times. So I would say that this whole movie, the style, the 90s fashion is so Delia's. It's just a Delia's magazine of delight. Delia's was this clothing company in the 90s which sold like flare jeans and shirts with clouds on it, or like pajamas with clouds on them.
Yep.
Really great stuff. I was once able to do my back to school shopping there, and I was really excited about it.
Yeah, very, like expensive for like what like our price point. I feel like I was, and when you did finally get some stuff, like not very well made.
Yeah,
it was made in China.
Total rip.
But also it was like catalog only for so long, and then there was finally a brick and mortar at this mall, like that was like an hour and a half away from us. Yeah. So like we'd made like one special trip there, and it was like we were just like, oh, we walked
like
in
Disney.
and we're like, yes, we're like,
So
yes,
good.
yes, flare jeans, yes, these tiny little T-shirts that are thin as
Thanks.
paper, yes, choker necklaces, barrettes with butterflies.
It's just like they presented such an image with like the girls in that catalog,
Yeah.
just like hippie, like,
And I feel like
free spirited.
yeah, like very like
wanted to be that.
like Gwen Stefani kind of stuff. And also I want to say that they had a big section with like stuff to decorate your room, right? So they had
inflatable furniture.
yeah, yep, all that kind of stuff, like bedding that was really cute, like chairs, little
beads,
cushions to put on your
hanging-
chairs. Yeah.
Door beads.
Yep, like
Or-
funky little lamps. So you just want to be like, oh my God, I want a Delia's room like so bad.
Yeah, so
It was,
bad.
oh God, it's crazy. But so yeah, so I mean, I think let's just talk about 90s shit because this is all we're doing. Okay, so along that line, I'll say, so the big fashion thing that stuck out, we've talked about 90s stuff, and depending where you're in the 90s, like we said, the fashion really did vary. For this particular movie, I would like to say that the fashion bit that stood out to me was and I'm going to call this the Britney Spears low-rise pants, where the hip bones like jut out on particular females, and then they would have like these like crop top sort of like half shirts. This is all Tara Reid wore in this movie, and like you just
wore a bandana one time.
yeah, as like a top, yeah, and like tube top and stuff. But I just remember that look of those like low slung jeans, and I do not have a body like that. First of all, you have to be the kind of girl who has like no butt and no hips, so you could wear your pants like super low like that, and you're literally your hip bones would be like jutting out, and you had like no stomach, and it was just so crazy and very tan. And I'm just like, oh, I mean, Britney Spears still tries to rock that. Like, God bless her. If you follow her
God bless
Instagram,
her.
I'm like, you go, keep like trying that style, because that was a crazy style. I mean, those pants were insane. And like, what is that? I don't know. I remember, I don't know. Again, I was not someone who, my hips are too big to wear like those kind of
90s
pants.
was
but-
very into like small things. For some
Yes.
reason. It was all
Yeah.
into like being skinny was like
Yeah.
a trend, and like
Right.
you know,
Right.
it was not a good time to be to have an eating disorder, because it was just. I mean, this movie is like, why do we need to ask her how much she weighs, and like why does she tell us? Like she could have just not said anything, but they have to say like 118 pounds. So if you're a girl watching this and
Right.
you're like
You're like-
140 pounds, you're
Yeah.
like,
you're
oh
like,
my god, I'm so
"Whoa."
fat.
Yep.
And like, so it's just so sad to me. But again, times have changed, but it's just crazy that the 90s was like so about that, and I didn't really realize it until this point in time, right?
Well, it was just like all we ever knew. Like, oh, okay, like that's like what it's about.
Right.
So along the fashion line again. So this was very much I'm gonna call it frosty makeup era. So it was like this and I was way into this trend as well. I don't know how much white eyeshadow I had, but I had a lot. That like frosty white eyeshadow, frosty lips. They put Tara Reid in like frosty green eyeshadow,
Really?
frosty
That was so weird.
pink, like
Blue, yeah. Just like sparkles.
yeah, a lot of glitter, like you said.
The part of Josie's makeover are those like
Yep.
little bindi stick-on
The bindi stick-ons. Yep.
things
Again,
like, under her eye.
Very Gwen Stefani. I remember like she
Yeah.
kind of like brought that about.
And then those like jewel tattoos that are like also the stick-on thing
Yes.
that you like wear as a tattoo, but it does not look like a tattoo.
No.
So I don't know what the purpose of that is. Shirts with flames on it was a big like pattern in the 90s. The like black with the orange flames. Blue and purple cat print things I think were big, and I feel like it echoed Lisa Frank maybe.
Yeah.
But that style was very 90s. Okay, so body glitter. Let's talk about body glitter. So we had like a couple tubes at the house, and don't you feel like they were like this big, like
Yeah,
tiny things
tiny.
that seemed to have lasted 15 years?
Yes.
Like we had the same tube of body glitter for like 15 years.
I know,
but
I know.
feel like we used it a lot. I mean, I used it like every Halloween.
Yeah.
And whenever I was feeling saucy, like in my bedroom, and wanted to like pretend I was Britney Spears. But yeah, it had like a very particular smell about it that was like baby powder or like something, you know, baby prostitute-esque. And one was like a green tinted one, and one
Probably
was, like,
glad it
like
clears.
a white. Yes. So Claire's, obviously this whole movie also reeks like highly of Claire's, and you're like, ugh, I just love it.
I know.
Just like cheesy jewelry, like cheesy accessories, all not Josie and the Pussycats so much, but the like real life people, I think, reminded me a lot of Claire's, like
Yeah.
their like lanyards and, you know, like all like the shit. Like Claire's stores just had sections
All
of
that stuff.
instinct shit.
Yeah.
And you would just buy it and be like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Sweetie and I both had matching JC necklaces that we rocked for a while, I would say. Wow. Like, it's crazy.
Okay. It was a different time. It was a different time.
Like, I really thought he was my boyfriend. I was like,
I
I'm
know.
wearing his necklace.
Yeah,
it
it
has
was-
to be real.
It was fucked up. Poor guy. I hope he's okay. Okay. I'll also say I feel like a 90s thing was like having, and you said that this was like a good turn for Tara Reid, which I do agree because she's kind of like not the greatest actress. But I feel like there was this trend of always having like one dumb girl like out of a group. Like 1 out of 3 had to be like a dumb girl who she had to be. And I feel like that's gone down a little bit. Like maybe we don't have that so much. Or they have like some sort of smart turn. I mean, the thing with the character in
Yeah.
this one is that she's very like sweet and optimistic. It's not that she's like, I mean, she can play the drums, so she's like not that dumb, but it's more like she's like kind of naive and like in a good
But
way
she's
though.
actually very they like make the joke that she's like actually very perceptive, because
Yes.
when they're like, did you notice anything weird about that Wyatt guy?
Yeah.
She's like, yes.
Yeah.
And then she like says all these like highly insightful things that are actually true, but they don't realize it.
Right.
But what's another, besides Mean Girls is the only other one I can think of where there's like the dumb friend. Were you thinking of another one?
I mean, I don't know if I can think like off the top of my head, but I feel like that's always just like a trend, just to have at least one girl being like, oh, it's like the dumb pretty girl. And for an actress like Tara Reid, that like basically made her like, you know, her bread and that's what was her bread and butter, which is like kind of sad if you think about it. But but you know, she got Carson Daly as her boyfriend out of it, so not too shabby. I mean, because like the main, she's like the hot girl in American Pie. Is that it?
No, she's like the girlfriend. She's like the sweet girlfriend of
The girlfriend,
like one of the main ones.
Yeah,
The hot girl in American Pie was Molly Shannon, not Molly Shannon. Shannon Elizabeth. She was like the exchange student who like
yeah. But then, what's the other movie Tara Reid's in then?
Isn't it like another comedy? She's in Sharknado. She's supposed to be pretty good in that.
Pretty good.
Wasn't it like, I think it was a horror movie.
Oh, okay.
She's American Pie 2, American Reunion, and she's in the Big Lebowski as Bunny Lebowski.
Wow, I don't remember that.
Yeah. My Boss's Daughter. Van Wilder? Is that what you're thinking? You saw that a lot. Yeah. You watched that.
Just remember the pooping in the trash can part. Okay, so another late 90s thing was Behind the Music, which they do make kind of like a joke out of. But I love it. The joke is I forgot who's watching it, but they're like, oh, Behind the Music. They're like, I'd love that one. I love the one about Leif Erikson. And I remember watching that. That was a really good like thing on
Erikson
MTV.
Was like the Danish.
No, he was like
Norwegian.
No, in like in the
70s,
he was like a David Cassidy. He was like a boy band, like the
Isn't he
solo
also
boyfriend.
a Viking? Isn't that also a Viking's name? Or is that a different Leaf?
Is it not Erickson? You Google it. I'm tired.
Leif Erikson. Okay. Yeah, he is the Viking.
Yeah.
So I don't know who you're talking
Well,
about.
Google
It's not.
Leaf 1970s.
Leif Garrett.
That's it. Well, then I'm too smart. I'm sorry. Clearly, I jumped to the Viking and not a 70s pop icon.
I really thought it. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's
Leif,
a
anyway.
Viking.
Leif Garrett. But back to, do you remember the Behind the Musics though? Those were really good.
Yes, I loved them. Always tragic.
I know.
Like, so good. And just like, yeah, the whole way they shot those, it just really brings you back. Companion piece of that, obviously MTV News, that like breaking MTV News update where they're sitting at that desk and there's those like little TV images behind them flashing like real people's faces. Just love that.
Yeah.
The globe spinning in the background.
Yep.
Good stuff. And then of course, how could we forget TRL?
TRL.
Wow, loved it. Used to watch that show, especially in the summer.
Yeah.
With my friends, obviously, because we were in school, and it was like our routine. And we would write like 1,000 requests because you would just go to the website on the net, and you would like type in your request and be like, "Hi, like please play In Sync Bye 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 because it's my favorite song. Andre from Massachusetts." And then you would watch TRL, and then they would just scroll across the bottom people's requests. And I would like search every day. I would sit in front of that TV and just be like, "Today's the day."
Oh no!
Today's the day. Never. It was never the day. I never got on. But it was so fun.
But it was awesome.
Such a bizarre show. They just showed the same 9 movies every day.
Videos.
Videos.
Yeah, music videos.
9 music videos every day. The top 9 or whatever.
Yeah.
And they were the same ones. And after a while, they started only playing like 2 or 3, like 5 seconds of the video. But before that, they would play like most of the video.
Yep.
And we would watch it every time.
So
we would watch In Sync. I drive myself crazy. Every day.
Times. And those boy band ones would stay on forever, would like stay on the top forever. But I also remember that, this was like the heyday of music videos. So they were the production value and how much money and how much time those artists like put into those videos. They also had like making the video. So you would watch the program that showed you how they made all the videos. So it was like, and it was like what MTV was all about, right? Like was about music videos.
And a lot of what like popular music was about music videos, to the point that I seriously wanted to be a music video director as my career when I was a child. And now I'm like, Good thing I didn't pick that career, you
Well,
guys.
and I don't know, like, what was that change? When did that switch? What was that switch? That because people were watching TV, I guess, and were more into these like little immediate like snippets and internet and stuff like that, and it just wasn't like that format didn't like go with it. I don't know why did because it's so funny because MTV, right? When MTV came on the air, whenever that was, I forget, what was that, early 80s? It was, the first video they ever played was Video Killed the Radio Star. So that was like the radio kind of dying. And then you had this music videos became the rage. So you really had to have this whole package. You had to not only sound good, but look good. So that was that. And then it's like videos died, music videos died, and then MTV became, a place of like reality television.
Reality show.
Yeah, so it's like it's these transitions and like the trends and everything. It's just kind of like unbelievable.
Is it being controlled subliminally?
No.
I don't know. It's really spooky.
I know.
And now the big thing is podcasts. And then like soon we're not going to care about podcasts, and all of our episodes will be lost in the limbo of.
And it's like, what's next? I mean, the way stuff goes, whatever is next is already out there. Like someone has found it, like something is happening, but like,
hurts my head.
Yeah, it's just how stuff changes like that. Unless because of this whole COVID thing, we're going to go back to square one or something. I don't know. The world's going to implode and we're back to radio, guys.
Great. Disposable cameras, another one I had on here. Very big, obviously. If you didn't have a digital camera, you had your old disposable. Sweetie has a good story about how she found a disposable camera in college, developed it. Penis shots.
Yep, penis.
On purpose. Like they were like, let's take pictures of our dick and then leave this camera somewhere.
That's like all you ever want from finding someone's digital camera, though. I mean, we hit the jackpot. I mean, you wouldn't even. That's like,
oh my god,
all you ever wanted. The one you find. I mean, come on, that was awesome.
It was so great. No, I was just thinking of one of the pictures of the penis. I can envision it. It was like, I remember being like, that's what a penis looks like, because it was like flaccid. Yeah. Anyways, Bugles, the snack food that was like a weird corn chip kind of, but like very modified. So I don't know.
They had a weird aftertaste. I didn't love Bugles. Wasn't totally a Bugle fan.
On your fingertips, like fingernails, and be like, it was like the one gag of Bugles. Everybody did it. It's like everyone's like, wait, watch this. We're like, you can put them on your fingertips. Big deal. What else did I have? Outtakes was a very 90s.
Oh, the blooper reel. Yeah, blooper reel.
I love those.
Me too.
We've talked about that before. So Target in this movie. So when this movie, I remember seeing this movie and being like, "What's Target?" And like, we didn't really have Target until I was in college. Like,
I didn't see one until I went to college. Yeah, same.
So I feel like it was still pretty young, but that. The image of the Target with the dog on the dog eyes is very, that was like their first big, what's that called, logo.
Yeah.
And that really brought me back. Most of the brands, we'll say, that are in the product placement are still around today. They're very well known. McDonald's, Kodak's in there, Coca-Cola, pretty much like anything.
Yeah.
Is Foot Locker still around, or did that go belly up?
I don't know. Maybe like malls and stuff, but I haven't been in a mall in a while. I know. I always felt that was weird because they had to wear like referee jerseys as their uniforms. I always felt that was odd.
You say weird, I say cool.
Cool.
They looked like Mo from Global Guts.
I know. They really did.
Cool.
They really did.
Yeah, loved it. But okay, I guess that's all I had on my 90s list. Did you have anything else?
I had Bill Cosby impressions.
Yes.
No one does those anymore. Don't do it.
Those are bad. Yeah.
Kill your career. Yeah. Oh, and I have one fun fact too. I only have one fun fact.
Yay.
So, the other three ladies to try out for the Rosario Dawson role were Beyonce. Ooh.
Wow.
Lisa Left Eye Lopez really wanted the role. Came back and read a couple times. And Aaliyah.
Oh my God! 2 tragic deaths. Which,
I know.
In
like,
this movie, they make a joke about, like, do you ever wonder why so many musicians die in plane
know.
crashes? It's because they find out about the subliminal messaging and then they get killed. And so now I'm, like, in my head about it. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, maybe that is true. Like, they tried to do that. But then you're like, oh, there's plenty of not famous people who are, like, a little bit famous who die in plane crashes.
It's only because they take those tiny little planes.
I know. But it's
That's the commonality.
I mean, like, Left Eye was a car crash, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So, like, it's not always a plane crash, but there's, like, some tragedy.
Yeah. Well,
and, oh my God, okay, and this is so spooky because, so they audition, and then in the movie they reference Heath Ledger,
yeah.
who also had a tragic death.
I know.
That's really spooky.
Was Heath Ledger ever the new Matt Damon?
No. I don't think so.
No. I mean, maybe eventually.
I feel like they're
maybe
very
he could have
different.
been, but
I feel like they're very different brands.
yeah.
I don't feel like they're even in the same category. Maybe that's
Well,
just me.
Heath never got to spread his wings. You know, he was really kind of just getting there.
was,
Like
more
when he
artsy,
died.
though.
So
I don't
yeah,
know. Yeah.
yeah.
Ugh. R.I.P.
Too soon. Too soon.
Death. A lot of death. Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it. But good times.
Such
Feel good about it.
Just love it. Feel real good about it. Yeah, come find us on Twitter at the Sweetie Club. Share with us your 90s passion, your 90s things you love. We're on Twitter at the Sweetie Club or on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us. Thank you, as always, for listening. Bye.
Bye, rape artists, pussycats.